Is it a good idea to put your mineral B frying pans into the oven? Hi, I'm Jed, this is Cook Culture. So today is a very specific video for fans of Dubai Mineral B. Not so much the Mineral B Pro, but Mineral B, that is really the mass volume of Mineral B cookware that's sold on the market. And for those of you that don't know, Mineral B is made by a French company called Dubai, and they make this very green and friendly style of carbon steel cookware. Carbon steel that is 1% carbon and 99% iron, and it is mostly in that sort of shape that looks a lot like your traditional American skillet. And these are pans in which we sell to people, and I promote to people to buy, that want to get away from nonstick. So if you use a nonstick pan and you want to use something that's going to become pretty much nonstick and last forever, this is the brand that I promote. But the question always is, will the handle take the abuse in the oven? Can you put these guys into the oven? So Dubai says that they will take 200 degrees Celsius, around 400 degrees Fahrenheit, for around 10 minutes. And that's what they suggest. The reason for that is that the handles are an epoxy. They have an epoxy finish. And the epoxy will soften over time. And I'm going to show you visually what that looks like and what the result of either a lot of high flame cooking, because this won't actually just get damaged in an oven, it can get damaged on your stove top also with gas, but I'll show you what that looks like. But what happens is that when you put these guys into the oven, the epoxy will soften. And if you continuously do that, it'll soften, and then you'll grab something and pull it out, and slowly that'll get worked away and it will get exposed on the handle. And it's not that big of a deal, really, but it's good to understand. If you never want your handle to look anything different than this one here, then use induction, use low gas heating, never put it in the oven, and it will stay like brand new. But if you do use a higher heat cooking with gas, or you do put it in the oven, I'm going to show you what the results was so that you know clearly if you go into this buying one and you're going to use this in the oven, this is what over time it's probably going to end up looking like. And what is the alternative? If you don't want that but you want to use the oven, what can you do? I'll show you that too. So let's get into this. Okay, so I've got a wide collection of different types of pans here, and I'm going to show you the different types of damage is really the best way to put it that's happened to the handles. To be really clear, Dubai says just 10 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius, 400 degrees Fahrenheit around, and that's their suggestion. So anything more than that, and you're going to be stepping into a danger zone. And this is where we've gone here, obviously. A lot of pans that I've had over time have been used in a commercial kitchen. We teach cooking classes, and our pans have gotten used and abused more than I would have ever done, but they're great to show you what somebody who's maybe being a little bit careless with the cookware, what can end up happening. These pans have gone into hot ovens, they have been cranked on hot heat for a long period of time, and it has definitely damaged the handles. I think they're totally fine to use. They're not a problem. They feel comfortable still, not an issue. So I'm going to show you what those guys look like right now. So first thing to notice is that you've got this hole here is where usually you have a little silicone bee, and here it is here. This is one that's kind of cooked up. That one's going to pop out. Here's one here that's still in pretty good shape. And here's one here that's in excellent shape. So first off, this handle here, this is in great shape. So this pan's been used a lot. This handle here is smooth and uniform, and the epoxy is totally fine. As we go over, slight abuse here. You've got just where the handle has become soft several times as it's been in the oven, and then grabbed with a cloth, and it's pulled some of the epoxy off. So that could be sanded down a little bit and be totally fine. This guy here has gone in the oven, but really the damage from this one has been high heat at the stove top. So this isn't really an oven damage. This is from cooking. And this is also a 14-inch pan that has had some really severe abuse over time. It's a pan that I'm gonna totally recondition at some point in time. I've got on my list of things to do. As you can see, massive carbon buildup around the edge. I have taken it down with vinegar, I'm pretty sure I did this pan with, and it works totally fine, not a problem, but that's where the damage is. So the handle feels totally comfortable. And this guy here is definitely some heat damage at the bottom, and that has gone with oven. So this guy is missing epoxy altogether. Like there really isn't anything left on there. There's a little bit of it kind of glued on the bottom here. And same with this last one. All of the epoxy is off. So this one's actually really quite smooth, and it's seasoned, so it's not gonna rust, and it's totally fine. But that one has been thrashed on thrashed on thrashed, and the pan, unfortunately, is in decent shape. So it's looking good. So what do we do? So we've got these pans here. They're totally fine. This is what's going to happen if you abuse your cookware. It's not gonna be a big deal. So if you have this type of cookware, you're starting to see a little bit of wear and tear, it's never gonna be that big of an issue. I never find that it gets to a point where like, oh my God, I can't use this anymore. So what happens when we heat this? It will soften the epoxy, but how bad is it? So I have a pan here in the oven that I've had in for about an hour at 400 degrees, and I'm gonna see how soft this epoxy is. All right, so let's grab that guy out of there. I'm gonna grab it from the pan base. Just kind of get a feeling of the handle. It's hot. Okay, so it's definitely hot. It's not even the beginning of tacky. So maybe it's a tiny bit soft, but I wouldn't, I can grab that with a cloth and I'm not pulling that off. So that's been an hour at 200 centigrade, 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and there's no issue there. So you can imagine a pan that looks like this, how many times it's gone in the oven, and how much abuse it's had over time. This guy here, one cooking in the oven, and no issue whatsoever. So this guy over here was seasoned in the oven. This was a full oven seasoning, 5 times to get this beautiful golden finish, and that handle is perfectly fine. So that sat in the middle of the oven, radiant heat, not up close to the broiler, and the handle was 100% fine seasoning this in the oven. So this was an oven season, not an issue. Okay, so you've got Mineral B, regular Mineral B, you're seeing a bit of wear and tear. Now totally fine, everything's gonna be fine. You have regular Mineral B, you wanna use in the oven, probably gonna be totally fine. Be careful of broiling, be careful of really high heat. Recommended manufacturers care, we've talked about. That's what they're saying is going to be within, how it should be used. If you go over that, we're taking on these choices ourselves. This is our own responsibility. If we damage our cookware in any way, these are the choices we take on for ourselves. So what do you do if you don't want to have any of that? You just want to get right away from that. So Mineral B makes what they call Mineral B Pro. It's the same as the regular Mineral B with the epoxy handle, but they use a stainless steel handle on their cookware, and it's also really ergonomically beautiful. It feels great, looks great, everything about it is wonderful. It's more expensive, not by a lot, by a little bit, and it's wonderful. So that we have right here. So this is a 12.5 Mineral B skillet frying pan, really nice stainless steel handle helper, and beautiful ergonomic stainless steel handle. This will take all that abuse, right? And then we have a little rounded saucepan that we have with stainless steel handles. So this will take care of any of that problem. You don't want to have to deal with the epoxy, buy the Mineral B Pro. It's not a huge amount more, and it will work incredibly well. We sell now a lot of Mineral B Pro, and people just like the look of it and the functionality, and like I said, it's maybe 10 or 15% more, not a huge amount. This type of cookware is not very expensive anyway, especially when you compare it to an all-clad or a made-in or any sort of a cladded stainless steel cookware. And for doing, non-stick-ish type results, nothing works better. Cast iron, of course, is tremendous, but really a pan that fits in your hand the way that this fits and works to be able to create a non-stick pan, this works incredibly well. So I'm a huge fan of, really all carbon steel. There really isn't anything that isn't fantastic of a, even if it's an inexpensive Chinese made, sometimes I'm not as positive about them as I am to something like Dubois, but they all work really well compared to anything that is coated with Tefal, Teflon, anything of the like. So I hope that helps. Any questions, any comments, please throw them below. Thanks so much.